What's up, everybody? This is your boy DC. You know how we do it. We're in the studio. I have a special guest with me. Well, he's not really a special guest because he's always with me. You know what I'm saying? It's my main man, my partner, St. Paul. So we're going to talk to St. Paul. He has some new music, new projects that he's working on. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Boom. I told you we got something in store for you. My main man, St. Paul. What's up, Paul?
Hey, greetings. How you doing, brother DC?
Oh, man, just chilling.
Very good.
This corona thing is kind of like crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. And never thought I would see something like that affect the entire world. Not just a city, not just a state, not just this country, but every country, every continent, every island. But you know what? It also teaches us to go trust God and put Him first as well. Because there's a method behind this madness.
Oh, yeah, you already know. So let's talk about your background. You're Jamaican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how hard was it coming from Jamaica to America?
I have to admit that in the beginning it was a transition because I left from Jamaica straight into Michigan in the Upper Peninsula. Better yet, Mackinac Island Grand Hotel. And it's like leaving from the microwave straight into the freezer or refrigerator, whichever one's colder.
That's like the flu.
Something like that. Something like that. And you know, you can figure it out. Jamaica stays between 96, 98 degrees.
Hot, man.
And at the time when I leave, Michigan was right at the forefront of like between 35 to 40 degrees weather. So it's definitely a transition. Okay. But I learned how to cope with it for a while. But the first couple of months, yeah, it was tough because coming from Jamaica, used to run outside without your shirt on. And you in Michigan, the sun's still shining, but you dare not walk out with your shirt on. That's it. Yeah. That's a transition.
Oh yeah, that's a big transition. Now that you're in America, okay, what was your first thing that you did when you got here, as far as your music career?
First thing I did when I got here, as far as my music career, it wasn't where I'm looking for it. Someone just approached me and said, "Hey, you got a musical voice, you got a radio voice. It sounds like, you know, you could do something." And I said, "What you mean?" He said, "I'm doing a little tune and I need a Jamaican background on it." Because I was just talking to a buddy of mine, a Jamaican buddy, and we were surrounded with other folks right at the same place. And I didn't want no one else to know what we're talking about. So I went back into my slang. Better yet, let me not even say slang, into my patois, which is they call Jamaican.
Gotcha.
And the guy said, "Yo, man, when you finish talk, I want to have a word with you." I never thought nothing about it. I said, for whatever reason, I don't know. But shortly after, I walked over to him and said, "Hey, what's up?" He said, "Yo, man, no disrespect, but it sounds like you have a musical voice and a radio personality voice."
But have you done music before then?
Not to any professional extreme, just like you be in Jamaica and the sound system string up and you think you have a hobby and you just want to go over the mic, freestyle,
right.
Stuff like that, but not to a professional level where you take it to say, "I'm a recording artist."
Right. Hey, man, that's good because for somebody to really hear your voice and then really kind of see something in you that you ain't even see.
See, there it is. At that time, he says, "I'm doing a skip with an hip-hop artist," because this was an American guy.
Right.
And he said, "I'm doing a skip with an hip-hop artist. Not only that, I want a Jamaican background in it. Somebody sounds like Barrington Levy." And I'm like, whoa. So I remember what Barrington Levy was doing.
That's a challenge, man.
And I said, yeah, for whatever reason. I said, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
He said, you sure? I said, yeah. He said, have you ever done anything professionally before? And I didn't want to insult myself. So I went and said, yeah. I said, let me hear something. And I just started doing some little freestyle. And I remember Barrington Levy had that song. So I start freestyle and start back it up because he said he want to hear something similar to Barrington Levy to enhance the hip hop, in between.
Yeah.
So I start rapping about exactly what we're talking about. This guy's a Yankee, want to hear from my yard. He want me sound like Barry, and Barrington Levy still with me, but I'm still Paul. At the time, my name it wasn't St. Paul. I'm still Paul.
Right.
And I know how to run the dance hall, freestyling. And he's like,
dance hall is big.
It is big.
It's real big. It's like it's to a whole nother level because I remember back in the days when what's his name? Paul. What's the guy name?
Sean Paul.
Sean Paul and what's the Pitbull? All of them guys back in the days, they took that dance hall thing to a whole
another level. Yes.
To a whole another level.
Yeah,
so,
him and Shaggy and a few others that just went out there.
Cleopatra.
Yeah.
All of them, man. I was like, boop, 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 boop. Back in the day, that was me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
That was me. So let's talk about your music. Because I know it was a transition between secular music into gospel.
Yeah.
Now, in your secular music, how and when did you come up with the concept with that style?
Good question. Let me dress back a little bit for you before I give you all the answers. I want to go back to as a child coming up. When I was growing up with my dad, his house is right here and right next door, just a step over. That's the neighbor. Right there was a rum bar, what we'll call today sport bar with a jukebox in it. But if you go just a few blocks down, on the same side is a Pentecostal church. So the blessing was the rum bar with the jukebox. You could put like at the time a dime, 10 cents in it, and you get 3 songs.
Right.
And at the church, whatever they're doing in terms of praise and worship, preaching, the choir, you hear every single thing that the church is doing.
So you was getting the best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds.
Oh,
so music now had formed from, you want to call the rum bar side the east and the church the west side. So I'm in the center. So I'm getting east side and west side, whether you like it or not.
Right.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
So you wake up with the privilege of getting entertained. And you like some of what they're playing in the rum bar. With the jukebox, you start learning those songs, singing those songs. You also love the praise and worship. Better yet, make a long story short, in my household at the time, my dad wasn't even going to church, but it was mandatory that you have to go to church.
Even if he ain't going.
Even if he ain't going. You have to go to church. So I was just blessed to have it that way. But getting from the secular to the gospel, to answer your question, was years later when I came to the U.S. After that guy introduced me to the Barrington Levy stuff that I've mentioned, there was another transition between my household situation, my marriage and all that with my first wife. And it led me to go to church for counseling. And from getting counseling, I realized that I need more than just counseling. I need Jesus Christ in my life because with or without the wife, with or without the marriage, Jesus Christ still an essential part of your life. And then it brings me back to growing up in the church background from Jamaica.
Gotcha.
So I went into church, literally get baptized, but I was already in the secular, doing secular. So now I start blending it. Secular, gospel, secular, secular. But at the same time...
How did that work for you?
It was good for a moment. I'm not going to lie now. I did enjoy it both ways.
Yeah.
But what have happened, I've learned that my scale was unbalanced. It's like I'm lukewarm. Right. 1 minute I'm over the west side, as they name it, and the next minute I'm on the east side. Better yet, some days, some weekends, I'll be in the club, in the stage, in the dance hall, doing my thing circular. And Saturday night, no matter how late I left the dance hall, I wake up to go to church Sunday doing praise and worship and singing and doing, and I realized that wasn't enough. It's like you're praising God one moment and the next moment you're switching it over. So it comes back to another transition Years later, like 2017, when they realized, hey, God don't want you to have two masters.
Right.
You know you're not perfect, but you got to make a
one.
decision.
Yeah.
So that's what the transition was.
Before we get into your music, we're going to take a short break. We're going to get into some sponsorships, some commercials. Then we're going to come back with Paul. We're going to talk about his project that he got out now called ReachOut. And then also, too, we're going to talk about Christian Women Men of Atlanta. All right, so y'all stay tuned. This is your boy, DC. We going around with St. Paul. You already know. Stay tuned.
Here we come, yo. 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 Make room.
Yes, we all one family in the body of Christ. So we're reaching out, touching and saving souls for Christ. Reach out, brothers and sisters. Yeah. And we reaching out to you with love and blessings for you. Jehovah, remember you. What? We're reaching out to you. Reach out now. And we're reaching out to you.
Man, Paul, that was a great song. The ReachOut song was awesome.
Awesome. And for the viewers out there, I don't want to vote for you, but I hope you like it.
Oh, most definitely. So, the ReachOut situation. We talked about the secular music. So let's get into the gospel side of it, of ReachOut. Explain to people what is ReachOut, because ReachOut is like, it can be anything. You know what I'm saying? It can be a ministry. It can be like reaching out to the homeless, or it can be just reaching out to children. It can be, that word reach out is like broad. So narrow it down and explain to the people, what is ReachOut?
Very good. ReachOut is a universal aspect, and as you just name it, DC, a few things that ReachOut is responsible for. ReachOut is a reach-out organization that reaches out to the community, the public, and the media at the same time. It's about loving, caring, sharing, giving back, spreading the word of God, and also getting people to know, especially for the folks who don't believe in going to church, who don't believe in, standing in front of a pastor or sitting down because they think the churches are going AWire with just money and tithe and offering, or the pastor doing so much hypocritical stuff. Not all churches are doing that anyway, but yes, we do find that some churches are just, flipping the gospel unbalanced.
I call it unbalanced.
Right, and they're misleading the sheep. The wolves are driving away the sheep. But at the same time, ReachOut is to reach out to you, the viewers, the listener, the community, from wherever you are. From loving, like you said, caring, giving back, teaching, ministering, and also to help to showcase what God told us to do. Go forth through all the nation, the four corners of the earth, and spread the gospel. And the Bible tells you that when you bring one soul to Christ, the angels in heaven rejoices over that. Yes, we all born as sinners, but what could you do to give back, to reach out, to touch? And reach out is not just a money giving thing or a food giving thing or a donation thing. It's also a spiritual thing, spiritual food. How do you keep a balance between your lifestyle spiritually?
Okay, so what's next? What's next for ReachOut? We know that we just saw the video coming back from commercial. We saw the video, and I saw some of the clips throughout the show showing that you guys, giving blankets to the homeless, giving, taking food to the homeless. So what's next for ReachOut?
What's next for ReachOut is a growing possibility of not just the community. How about the global community? One country to the next, one nation to the next, one nationality to the next, one religion to the next. Because God is in everyone. But does everyone accept God?
Right.
Because all of us are God's people. But at the same time, we are people who born in sins. So we automatically sinners. So God is with us, but do we find God? So what ReachOut is doing now is to do bigger and further establishment for people to know, to be aware. Better yet, ReachOut is Definitely a YouTube channel. You could see it in Facebook. There's a channel that you could see it on. You can also see it on my website as well. But Reach Out now want to move a step above that and going into what we created called Christian Women and Men of Atlanta.
I was going to mention that. By working with you closely and also developing the Christian Women Men of Atlanta, how was it for you to pick your panel? You know, because I know you got, 6 women and 6 men?
6 women and 6 men. 6 men, you got that correct. Picking the panel for such a powerful organization is not easy.
No, especially with the different
personality, different nationalities, you know, both male and female. That's not easy. So what I did is probably what anybody who believe in God do. I pray and ask God to help me, allow me to be the voice of His command, whatever He told me to do, in terms of a vibe or a feeling or a vision or some form of way of to say, this might be the right person, that might be the right person to allow it to happen. Yes, of course, I went through probably about 16 women to get 6,
right,
and about 12 men to get 6, including myself.
Got you.
So it's not easy, never going to be easy, but at the same time, God answer your prayer in different ways. Sometimes you don't know, so you have to ask. You don't know who's going to agree or disagree. So it's like looking for a job. You might have to fill out 10 applications before you even get called for one, and you might have to do 12 interviews before you even get called to be hired. It's the same thing. But I will thank God for the people that join forces with me, the people who decide to help me, even volunteer, even for you, Brother DC, because you have done so much to make this possible. You might just be seeing St. Paul on camera talking about Christian Men and Women of Atlanta or Reach Out, but how about the people behind the camera, and in front of the camera and above the camera and at the side corners of the camera to make these things possible?
Most definitely. So, when can we expect the first season of Christian Women Men of Atlanta? Because I know that we're taping now. So, are we waiting for this pandemic thing to be over to really, get it on your channel so people can see it?
Yes, it's a yes question to that, but it's also an open yes. An open yes means it's a possibility to be sooner than later or a little later than sooner, simply because the world changes with the quarantine, with the COVID-19 and the pandemics. Right now, the law says you cannot gather more than 10 people in one location at a time.
Right.
So it slowed down some of our production and videotaping and all that, because I might agree to go and sit with 5 other men to shoot, but then the video crew also take up maybe another 5 producers and engineers and all that.
Right.
And once it gets to a volume of 10 or more, it's a violation. You got to shut it down. And then a lot of folks still a believer in God, but still a little bit in the fear side, as to say, I may not comfortably sit with this person because I don't know if he or she are already in contact with the coronavirus. And you have to give that respect. Even though it might be less than 10 people, you have to give everybody their personal respect. So that slows us down a little bit. The women side should have already released for Easter during the Easter weekend, but unfortunately, because of what's going on, it just set us back. Like many other companies have been set back to future dates.
Right. So, what's next for St. Paul? Because see, you got Reach Out, you got the Reach Out single, you got the Reach Out Jazz, you got He Lives, and you got Dreamers. I mean, St. Paul has a catalog, if y'all don't know, you know what I mean? So you can go to SPMCmusic.com and you can just click on and just sit there and just like chill all day with St. Paul. So this brother has a catalog, so don't sleep on the Paul.
Well, what next is just to keep doing what God said to do. Go ye forth throughout the world, spread, speak the gospel, win souls. So if there's another idea that God put in place of what I'm doing, I'm going to go with it. But until then, I'm going to keep releasing more new music, recording new songs, reaching out to more souls, one soul at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. And I will still do my best to be the best there is. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, but
No,
I will do my
perfect.
best to do it. And as long as you're doing things in the name of Jesus Christ, he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you.
Amen, amen. So, shout out your social media before we close this episode of St. Paul.
Right. For Christian women and men of Atlanta, it's still going to be shown on the ReachOut YouTube channel. And ReachOut is already a YouTube channel, and you can also find me as well as stpaulmusic.info. And also for all the videos and music, most of them already on iTunes and TuneCore. So, good example, ReachOut can be found by go on the YouTube channel, type it in, or go on any one of those media channel and type in ReachOut by St. Paul, Dreamer by St. Paul, He Live by St. Paul. The list goes on. As to say, once you put in the title of the song by St. Paul, it pops that up. But better yet, when you go on my ReachOut channel, please do. I'm encourage everybody to
subscribe.
do that. Subscribe.
Yes.
And once you subscribe, it's going to take you through a list of everything else that's going on. Because even though we've been slowed down because of the pandemic and the quarantine, we're still every week doing the Reach Out ministry. So every single week, we still have a new channel coming up.
Yes.
And, so that's where it is.
Cool. Also, too, shout out to our sister Najette. She's going to be hosting the new edition of the new Reach Out. So I just want to put it out there to congratulate her. She's excited. She's on fire for it. So, hey, this has been a pleasure. It's been an honor, my brother.
Very well.
We're going to try to do something like this, every other month, so people can really know what we're doing with you and with your project. So again, all the information is down here at the bottom of the screen where you can reach Paul at, and also too where you can get in contact with DC at Chandler Business Group. Let us know what you feel about this this show here, and also to give us some feedback and about Paul music, about his Reach Out ministry, so we'll know how to move forward, and also we'll know how to reach out to other people. Because it may be some people that's watching this, they may want to know, how did Paul do it? So, but if you wind this back and then take it to the beginning, you'll see how Paul got into where he is now. So I just want to take my hats off to Paul and his team. They're doing a great job. And I just want to say God bless, and everybody stay safe out there through this time. And I know moving forward, everything's going to be different. But hey, as long as you got God on your side, you can do all things.
Amen. And thank you again, Brother DC. And my hats off to all the crew member and staff of Chandler Business Group, SPMC Music, Reach Out Ministry, and Christian women and men of Atlanta. But as usual, and I do this every time, I'm going to be known for doing this, I will never leave the face of the camera without telling you how great God is and how powerful God is, and to trust Him in all your works, all your doings. He says, lead not unto your own understanding. That means no matter if you went to college and have a college degree in what you're doing, you don't have to believe and lean in that only. Put God first. And the next good thing about this is you don't need a college degree, a high school diploma. You don't need a certificate to pray and to trust God. You just need a Bible and a direction of what you do next. So put God first, and He will be first place in your life. Thanks again, Brother DC.
Oh, no problem,
and the
man.
Chandler Business Group as well.
All right, you guys be blessed. See you next time.
Peace.